Michigan just lost a quarterback, and now the quarterback room suddenly becomes really thin. What does this mean for Bryce Underwood and the Wolverines moving forward? Let's get into it here on Wolverines Daily. Michigan football made some major moves in the quarterback room this offseason, but now there's been a little bit of an unexpected twist. This coaching staff comes in with a clear goal to rebuild and reshape the quarterback room. Even with a top tier talent like Bryce Underwood leading the way, depth was a real concern heading into spring ball. They lose veterans like Davis Warren, they lose Mikey Keene, Jake Garcia, so now they are completely reloading. And one of those key guys that transferred in was LSU transfer Colin Hurley, and this is where things get really interesting. Hurley was expected to come in and compete right away for the backup job behind Bryce Underwood. Hurley, a former four-star recruit, a lot of upside, a lot of experience playing in a major program. He gave Michigan something they needed, and that was depth and competition. But now, heading into spring ball, he's no longer part of the equation. So what does that mean for Michigan right now? The quarterback room is much thinner than what it was heading into spring, and it's even much thinner heading into fall ball. You got Bryce Underwood, who's already established himself as the guy after starting last year as a true freshman. Behind him, very limited. Freshman Tommy Carr is going to get reps. Brady Smigel is still recovering from a torn ACL injury. And then you got Brady Fowler Nicolosi, the transfer from Colorado State. He won't be there until the summertime. That's not ideal heading into spring when you're trying to develop, you're trying to teach, you're trying to enhance competition. Now, let's jump over to Hurley's story. He spent the last two seasons at LSU. He redshirted in 24, dealing with adversity in 25. He was in a serious car accident that kept him out of the spring last year. And this was supposed to be a fresh start. He was penciled in as the guy behind Bryce Underwood. They had a chance to reset this, compete, carve out a role at Michigan, but for whatever reason, the opportunity didn't materialize. So now what? Now the focus shifts back to Michigan. What do they do next as far as the backup quarterback goes? Short term, it's about managing the reps, keeping Bryce Underwood healthy, getting as much development as possible out of the young guys. Bryce Underwood needs reps. You don't want to get him too many reps. You want to keep him healthy for fall camp going into the season. You'll have Fowler Nicolosi will arrive in the summertime. He's got a lot of game experience. He could stabilize into the backup role. But here's the bottom line for Michigan. They still have a centerpiece at quarterback in Bryce Wood. That isn't going to change. What has changed is the margin of error. Because right now, the Wolverines aren't just developing a quarterback room. They're relying on it to catch up quickly to transition to fall camp. Moving on from some of the scrimmage takeaways that I'm hearing from inside camp is the defense is leading the way right now, but the young offense is slowly rising and surging. And as a coach at any level, your defense is always ahead of the offense. So this isn't any surprise to me. It's still early in Michigan spring practice, but no one thing is really crystal clear at this point of what teams, who's taking the 1 reps, who's taking the 2 reps. The biggest thing right now that I'm hearing out of camp is the physical identity under this new staff is starting to take shape under Kyle Whittingham. From day one, the emphasis was toughness, discipline, let's play fast. And early on, the offense had some really good practices that shifted on Saturday. They had their scrimmage on Saturday, the inter-squad scrimmage, and the defense responded in a huge way. And according to multiple sources, the defense took control of the scrimmage, and it started up front. The defensive line set the tone. They absolutely dominated the scrimmage. We're talking about consistent pressure, strong tackling in the open field, a level of awareness that disrupted everything on Michigan's offense. That's exactly what you want to see from a unit that's going to be retooled. It's going to be a whole new look for them on defense with Jay Hill. But I think you're going to see a lot of defensive schemes similar to when Jesse Minter was there at Michigan. Leading the charge is that edge group. You'll have Dom Nichols. Cam Brandt was big. Playmakers. They're going to be leaders on that defense. They're a vocal group that's going to set the standard early on. And you're seeing technique. You're seeing effort. We're seeing discipline. That's contagious across the board on any team. Inside, You got Trey Pierce. You got Noah Etta that's doing a great job right out of the gate. They're anchoring the interior play for the Wolverines at the point of attack. That's something Michigan needed to disrupt the inside to be able to stop the run. If we can stop the run, we can get off the field on 3rd and long, will be a huge advantage for the Wolverines on defense. Now, young players are starting to flash. There's guys who maybe weren't expected to make noise, are starting to make noise. But if this Michigan defense can grow old relatively quickly, the young guys can mature. This has the potential. This Michigan defense might not be just good in the fall. It could be elite come fall camp. And I think that would be a huge get for the Wolverines going forward. Recruiting starting to take up shape. Michigan's football recruiting, they're building momentum, but it hit a little bit of a speed bump this week, and it comes from the offensive line. Class of 2027, 3-star interior lineman Tristan Dare has officially decommitted from Michigan, and the timing here is really interesting. This comes just days after Michigan added another offensive line commitment, showing that the Wolverines are really gaining traction on the recruiting trail. They're shuffling around things. Guys are coming in on campus. They're closing the deal. Top 15 right now in recruiting. Dare was a guy that's out of South Lake Carroll out in Texas. He originally committed back in August of 25 under the previous staff, but since then, there's been major change in Ann Arbor with the new coaches. Sharon Moore no longer the head coach. Grant Newsome is no longer the coach in the offensive line. Now Jim Harding steps in under Kyle Whittingham. So when you see staff turnover like this kind of movement is not surprising. I've been really surprised to see that Michigan has been able to keep some of the talent. They've been able to hang on to some of the recruits. This is one that got away from them. Recruiting, as I said, is all about building relationships, not just with the program, but with the coaches as well, the position coaches. So let's talk about Dare as a player. Solid prospect, 6'3", 290 pounds. He had offers from big-time programs. Ohio State was one. Oklahoma was another. Florida ranked as the top interior lineman in his class. So here's the bigger picture for me, and we need to think about this. This doesn't feel like a major loss. It feels more like a reset to me, because at the same time, Dare is leaving the class. Michigan just picked up a 4-star offensive lineman in Sidney Rolu, who's also from Texas. So the staff is still winning battles. They're still out there in the region. They're still recruiting hard, picking up 4- and 5-star commitments for the 2027 class. So yes, you do lose a piece, but you're still building. And I think that's the key. This phase of recruiting is it's about building the relationships, because in today's recruiting world, it's not about who commits first. It's about who signs last. So remember that. Not who you get now. It's who you get last before the season gets going. Michigan's men's hockey, what a great time of the year. I can't wait. We have the Michigan men's team will play Saturday night in hoops against Arizona. Many think, including myself, that the winner of that game cuts the nets down. I don't know if there's been a more impressive team through the tournament to this point than the Wolverines. But I want to talk about the men's hockey team. They're back in the Frozen Four. They did it in dramatic fashion. They punched their ticket with a 4-3 win over the 6th-ranked Minnesota Duluth in the regional final. And this one was about a fast start and clutch finishing for the Michigan Wolverines. They came out flying 3 first-period goals that set the tone early. Michigan did exactly that. They controlled this game. Will Horkoff got things started. Adam Valentini added a power play blast. Garrett Shifsky added another one. This is a Michigan team who I think not only is playing really good hockey at the right time, the stage gets even bigger now as they get set to play in the Frozen Four. The Frozen Four is in Vegas. They will face Denver tonight. I'm excited to watch that with a trip to the national championship on the line. And if they bring that same energy and execution, this team has a real shot to finish the deal and win the national championship, which it would be huge for the Wolverines, especially as the men have a shot to win. If they win Saturday night, Monday night, they will play for all the marbles, and hopefully the men will have their one shining moment as well. That's today's Wolverines Daily. I'm your coach, Rocky Corigliano. Thanks for being part of the Michigan football conversation. Make sure to hit subscribe, share the show with a fellow Wolverine fan, and remember, championship cultures never take a day off. And remember, go blue.